worry about you guys sometimes.
Just to explain to the people that don't understand the in-joke that's going on right now, is every time we tell John to give us a random like 30,000 experience or an extra 1,000 even, he tells us he needs a blowjob.
And I'm here now, so I'm going to offer him a bro job.
So we're at the station now?
Yes. Everyone's here. Like I said, Octavian won't be here today. He's got schoolwork or something he has to maintain. But yes, everyone has arrived at the station. You have a meeting at the embassy to talk to some representative. Don't know. They haven't given you a name yet. So if you want to do anything while you're on Omega when you first arrive, feel free to.
I want to go shopping.
I want to
know, we had this specimen that we were traveling back with. In theory, on the transit home, could I have extracted any useful data or performed any scans or experiments on this thing that we could turn in to our quest giver?
You can if you wish, but you are going to risk turning off the containment field. Are you okay with that?
I am not okay with that. I do not want to mess with the containment field.
Man, I'm okay with that. Go and do it. What could possibly go wrong?
Now we do have the Inquisitor with us and the specimen and all that junk.
Yes, I'm guessing that Magnus will have downloaded the information to the ship's core, ship's systems when he arrives on board the ship. The Inquisitor is currently being held in Cain and Abel's lab. They're talking to her and stuff like that. She is accessible for you as long as those two allow you into her lab, I guess.
I have no reason to keep anyone out.
All the information that you garnered, you can access as well, unless someone has put a lock on it, which I don't think will happen. Yeah, so in the 2 weeks you travel back, you're free to do as you wish.
Well, I kind of want to ask the Inquisitor some questions.
Yep. By the time you get to her, though, she is quite insane. She's been exposed to some rather interesting stuff on her on the travel back, so she's quite mad, but she's still intelligent. She still can talk.
Hey.
Is he of any use, or is she useless now?
No, she's not like stark raving lunatic, oh my god, mind shattered, but she has a few derangements and she's a little crazy. Well, put it this way, her insanity, which is now 40, let's put it that way.
Hey. Have we managed to corrupt her at all?
Unless you're doing something like physically injecting her with anything, from what you said, all you've done is made her go crazy.
Yeah, we'll go with that for now.
But seeing as she's an Inquisitor, she still can function. She still has a fairly high willpower.
I would be interested in physically injecting her with something if no one has opposition.
All I care
I kind of want to use her as a minion later.
All I care about is the knowledge she possesses. I mean, no one's looked at the information we downloaded. All we know is we downloaded a cookbook.
Hope we didn't
Yeah,
download
she
a cookbook.
still needs to be lucid enough to talk.
No, she's still quite a they have her drugged so she can't focus, so she can't use her powers, but she's still lucid. She can still talk. It's just like talking to someone with like mild schizophrenia.
Okay.
When they're on their meds.
I want to ask her what she was doing on that planet.
She was extracting specimens and sending them back to a secret location. She hasn't been given the location's name. Obviously, she's not high enough on the food chain.
I'll ask her who sent her there.
One of the High Lord Inquisitors, Grand High Lord Inquisitor Merisoft.
Alright, so that's going to be a key villain, I bet. We'll definitely want to
Isn't that
tell...
the Inquisitor we've heard of?
What was that, sorry?
I think that's the Inquisitor that's a friend of our employer.
No, that's Malus.
Close, but
My
no...
mistake.
We'll want to tell our employer, this Inquisitor. Does she have any other information about why she was extracting them? Are they aiding these creatures?
Once again, she's not high enough on the food chain to actually know why they're extracting them. All she knows is that she was to oversee the extraction of them. If anyone was displaying signs of corruption or control, just to put them down and help the running of the the program and stuff and getting them out. Oh, and she was supplying the ship, obviously.
Control? What do you mean control? These things have psychic powers?
In an earlier expedition here, there was shown they have some form of control over people that have spent a lot of time around them. Like we're talking like 6 to 7 months around them. Other than that, they're not sure if it's psychic or like a brainwashing or something like that.
So they can indoctrinate people to help them. That's going to be good information to know.
Indoctrination is mostly a very strong word, but yeah, something similar to that.
Okay. Is there any other information she can tell us about her trip there? Does she have any allies that supplied her? Well, how was she transporting them? Was she just putting them in the cargo bay, or was she using some type of technology to keep them secured in more stasis?
She was just using the stasis fields because they were working. For the larger creatures, though, she was like they had really amped up super strong stasis fields and certain drugs they were using.
Larger creatures.
Yes, they found some creatures of a much larger scale. Some were twice the size of the one you've got. There were others that were like huge, like 4 or 5 times the size of what you have now.
Are we talking like tank huge, dreadnought huge, ship huge? How huge are we talking about?
They saw one that was ship huge that was in orbit, but they haven't as yet found a way to move it without setting it off. And you're thinking like dreadnought huge.
Dreadnought huge. Alright.
And they saw one that may have been larger, like maybe closer to like a tank or something like of that size.
Now, did any of them wake up?
There was an incident where some of the minor constructs woke up, but they were taken down relatively quickly by the guards, the stormtroopers that were there. There were casualties, but not high enough to be of a concern.
Now, the guardsmen just used their pea shooters like normal, or whittle it down with bug bites type deal, or did they have some type of special weaponry?
They were just the stormtroopers used their hell guns that seemed effective, but you know, like there were shots glancing off them. But like I said, they were the basic soldiers.
All right. What chemicals are they using?
More than chemicals.
Yes. What chemicals are you using to sedate the big one?
Some of the most powerful sedatives in known universe and biotoxins extracted from Tyranid creatures.
Oh, they call us the heretics. They're monsters.
There was even rumors that they were on one of the creatures, the largest one they found. They were using some of the blood extracted from Gilliman himself. And just so your characters know, she explains who Gilliman is.
Alright. Oh, I'm pretty
As in the
sad.
Primarch.
What was that? Sorry, Kat?
I was just saying I'm satisfied with the info.
And the other person who talked? Sorry, I didn't catch who it was. What were you asking?
Confirming by Gilliman, you mean the Primarch.
Yes, they have a small reservoir of his blood that they were using, but it is obviously run out.
What about the data we pulled off the computers? Have we had an opportunity to review this and see if we can sift through it?
Yep, the data on that you do get, it has 10 classifications, 11 classifications of creatures. They range, they've given them really basic names, like there's a creature they call the Hulk, a Blade Witch, a Carbonite, a Dreg, a Zombie, Abomination, a Spider, a Blade Beast, sorry, I'll say that again, Blade Beast, a Knight, a Cyclops, and there's one there that just says Classification Dragon. The dragon, though, it doesn't look like it's part of them, like the other 10. It looks more like a Necron construct of some description.
Can we determine from these samples which specimen we have?
You have a Blade Witch. They, as far as they're aware, it looks like it uses a form of Elder DNA mixed with some Tyranid and cybernetic implants from the Necron family. Very heavy in melee combat. One was accidentally released, but they pretty much bombed it, well, they virused it to death and quickly broke down, and there was an implant in it that when it died, its brain just exploded, kind of thing.
We have any indication how long these creatures have been around on this planet or something of that nature?
From what they can tell, the carbon date, well, if their form of carbon dating states that the creatures may have existed on this planet for millions of years. Some of the older specimens show alien tissue that has never been seen before.
Is there any presence of any chaos or warp influence to these creatures?
There is minor influences, but that may have just been from like residual, but there is no actual chaos demon or anything present.
So they pretty much just have a mild Slanesh birth radiation.
Yeah, well, not just Slanesh, there are other chaos energies there as well.
Do we detect like an alignment to a specific chaos, or really just maybe just exposure to the warp has caused certain effects?
Yeah, it's just exposure to the warp. It's just general chaosy engine stuff.
You mentioned there was one that seemed like a ship, so does it seem like they have the ability to leave this planet, or are they really just found here?
The ship itself is inactive currently. But the engines are still running. It may be in like a form of cryo or something. And from what they can tell, they do have access to that ship. It's just not active right now.
Does this ship seem like it flies through the warp?
They did not discover a warp drive of any nature inside the vessel. But cross-referencing with the information from Delilah's teams has brought up that they may be using some sort of technology to intraless engines.
They were able to get aboard the ship?
They didn't attempt to board the vessel because as they approached, it seemed that some form of the ship came online.
So they're just guessing from scanners. Did we get information about the ship that the Mistress encountered? Is this the same class type?
It's a different class type. The Mistress has a minor like portfolio for them, but there's not really much information. The ship that she has described is only 100 foot, like 100 meters long. Or sorry, hang on, that's not right. It'd be about 100 meters long. It's a very small one, whereas this one that they have in orbit is like 2 kilometers long and about half a kilometer wide.
So we're talking about cruiser size.
Yes.
That's not good. While we were there, I was having my minion harvest some rock samples from unique looking rocks. Did I get of any useful rocks, or are they just rubbish?
No, there are trace amounts of different minerals in there. There are a few there that can't be identified at the current time. The only thing that the computer says is it's a form of living metal inside the ore.
Like nanite living metal, like my black blood type?
No, not to that level. It's mostly the form. It's mostly a refined form that the Necrons use to make their vehicles and such.
Okay.
For our best guess, you can mostly work out that there has been like Necrons on this planet, and due to some form of conflict or something, the vehicles have crashed or been broken down, and like they've been spread around the planet, so kind of thing, by the environment and such, and the bombing.
So the creature, we now know the creatures have Elder blood in them, besides Tyranid and Necron.
We're sure they're not like Kroot in that they like are what they eat.
I'm just wondering if they got near like an Eldar gate, would they be able to activate it and leave planet that way?
Maybe. What do you need to be able to access an Eldar gate? Surely you'd need like some kind of like a key or something. Like it'd surely be more than just DNA.
Well, it's more about just powering it up and having an alignment to another gate.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if these creatures have any knowledge of any of their, are they like a gene stealer? Will they gain some adaptive knowledge about the species that they've inbred with?
You don't have a way to test it without like catching one alive and then trying to feed it shit and see if it knows.
Well, we have one alive, but I don't want to open it.
I don't want to open this one because it sounds like it's a blade, which sounds like it's a powerful one.
Powerful one, yet we don't have strong melee abilities.
Well, I've got pretty strong melee abilities, but I really don't want to fight it.
Yeah,
I agree, we should not wake up the players.
especially since we'll take a penalty to any range attacks if they engage in close quarters combat with an ally.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's definitely something to look into for the future, for sure.
That was the data say if the blade beast was like a animal type thing running on all fours, kind of covered with spine.
Just give me a moment. There's actually a picture.
I think we basically saw it through the containment field. From memory, it looked kind of like a Naga.
No, what we have is the Blade Witch, which looks like Kerrigan. Ooh,
But there is a blade beast.
that thing's nasty.
They speculate that it's combination of machine and Lictor DNA.
So that makes me think that they're just like grabbing people's DNA and then like splicing it with their machines and making whatever the fuck they need for whatever purpose.
Kind of makes it sound like the Necrons were a failed experiment.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, humans aren't exactly the best design.
The flesh is weak.
This is the one that you guys have.
Oh, it actually has legs. I thought it had a snake body.
No, that's more like its hair or the cocoon it's next to or something. Kind of like an aliens type deal. Maybe a tail. So do any of them have like range capability?
There are two that have a primary range, which are listed. The others are mainly melee.
It's pretty good counter-accurate force. Because if you think about it, like everything that we use is pretty much ranged. And then we have like very small squads of melee.
Yeah. What is that?
The Dreg and the Cyclops are listed as the primary range units. Cyclops is a heavy range. They speculate because it is larger than the Dreg.
Do they have a picture of the dragon? Wow.
That thing's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
Though they do state that the dragon doesn't seem to be part of whatever these creatures are. It seems to be definitely more Necron. Like there is no living material at all. They do state that they have never ever encountered. There's never ever been a recorded encounter with one of these currently.
But they have a
Where'd they get the
classification
information about them from? Yeah, where'd they get the information from then?
Scans and tests of the two specimens from the dig site.
Okay.
They don't know if it has any actual range capabilities, but it does have a lot of teeth and claws and a large slashing tail. That is all that is listed.
Do they have an estimated size?
So they haven't dug this thing up. Oh, god.
No, they've dug two up. The listed size is about the equivalent of a Bane blade. Maybe a bit smaller.
If it's that size, it probably does have a range cannon in the mouth. So they have two of those off-planet.
They have one off planet and one is still being prepped to be removed. Their main concern is that if they apply any energy to it during being a Necron, they could possibly kickstart the engine kind of thing. They were using mass amounts of EMP generators, stasis fields, and other miscellaneous archaeotech without name listings to transport the other one.
So everything on this list, they've dug up, correct?
That is correct. Everything is on the list. They have at least one specimen heading to an undisclosed location.
I don't think the mistress will be happy with that information.
Well, let's go see her anyway, because we need to hand in all this shit.
Oh yeah. She definitely needs to know that the Inquisitors are moving them off-world for unknown reason.
You know, they have a lot of them. Well, by the sounds of things, they have a lot of them. That's weird.
The listings do list how many specimens were taken off. The smaller creatures, like the Blade Witch and the Dregs and all that, they've got a couple of hundred in total between them all taken off. They've only got one dragon taken off, and a couple of the bigger specimens, they've got like 10 or 20 combined taken off. The Hulk and the Abomination are the ones listed as the larger species.
So we are now docking into station.
Yep, you guys have arrived at Omega. You can make your rolls for items after you've turned in, because depending on how you handle a situation depends on how much infamy I'll award you, and it'll make your rolls much easier. As you arrive at the embassy, you notice that it's a lot less heavily guarded. There's no one at the door. The place is starting to actually look reasonably decent.
Wait, this is in... I thought this was a club.
It was originally going to be set up as a club, but now you notice that it's more of an embassy.
Hey Jim, we bringing the Inquisitor in here?
What's up?
We're not bringing the Inquisitor here, are we?
I don't know. Are we? I asked you that and you didn't reply to me because you don't pay attention.
Did you ask me that? Yeah, maybe, may as well. If they try and take her, I'll just stab them in the face and say no.
I don't want to get in violent with our employer while dealing with the wife.
I'm sorry, stab who in the...
They're not going to try and take her.
Anyone who has psi science or access to warp, when you enter the room, it feels as though part of the warp's been cut off to you, like it's foggy. Yes, but as you enter the room, there is this there is none of the original people that were there. There is a 1,000 Suns Marine sitting behind a desk filling out what looks like paperwork and dark data slates. He looks up as you enter, but there's this creature in the room. She's sitting at a table just eating food. As you enter, she kind of looks up, but then she just puts her head back down and continues to eat. As you enter, the 1,000 Sun Marine behind the desk, he calls out and says, "Greetings, nice of you to return. How was your mission? The mistress has informed me about what was going on."
I'll slowly approach the desk, so I'm not shouting across the room, and be like, "Our mission was a big success."
The mistress will be pleased.
We've acquired data of many different types, and we've even temporarily stopped a dangerous threat to the mistress.
Is that what your Inquisitor friend over there is?
Yes, she was leading a group of people and that were taking the specimens off planet. We've destroyed their base camp, and we have secured a specimen as well. And her data.
Can I hand this guy a data coil or some sort of equivalent to a flash drive with the data we've collected?
Yep, that's fine. Those green things up the top there are computers. He directs you just to go insert the data slot, the data port into the slot, and it'll download the information.
Well, we didn't bring the specimen, did we?
As you mentioned, the specimen cat, the creature that's sitting there at the table, she turns to you and says, "Where would this specimen be right now?" She has a normalish voice. It does sound a bit echoey.
We brought this thing with us, didn't we?
Yeah, it's on board the vessel. It's on board our ship.
It's still on the ship.
Oh, sorry, we didn't bring it to the meeting, I don't think.
It's still on the ship. As you say that, she says, "Would it be okay if I send some people to collect the specimen for transport?"
Yeah, the captain's waiting there for you.
Yeah. I don't get any vibes against her. She's not like trickery or anything like that.
No, she doesn't seem to be lying to you. She does seem to be hiding some things, but you have a feeling that may be like unrelated.
What was that?
It's okay. It's something he had to do for me.
Our employer didn't tell us that we had to report directly to her or anything of that nature, did she?
No, she said that you could just report back here. Someone will take your thing.
I also brought along the few elements of importance from what my minion took. You know, the unknown Necron metal.
The spaceman behind the desk, he introduced himself as Meziket, by the way. He takes the information. He says, "This is interesting. This could be very advantageous to know."
Unfortunately,
He briefly looks over the notes.
Oh, good.
Yep, go for it, Cat.
I was just saying, unfortunately, a little Inquisitor doesn't know where they're going, where they're taking the specimens. But we do have her boss's name. It is Grandmaster. What is it? I'm real bad with names.
One second. Grand Inquisitor Haranoff, she served.
Grand Inquisitor Herodov. We also found out from the Inquisitor that the creatures, if exposed a long time to, seem to have some type of sympathy control of living organisms there. Like a minor brainwash.
Interesting.
Just so people know, I'm pretty much ignoring this meeting and studying the angel person.
Actually, she will notice you doing this, Kane, and she'll look at you and say, "Yes, can I help you?"
Pretty much just ignoring, like, you can see where my token is.
Yep. Can I get you to make a willpower test?
No.
Very nice.
I'm not being intrusive, just studying. If I had an optical mechanandroid, I'd be a little bit more invasive.
You feel a presence in your mind, Jim. It's just searching your base thoughts, pretty much. It's not like probing deep or anything. It's just finding out who you are from what you can tell. Sal, as you're standing across the room, the creature sitting behind the desk that's eating, the angel, she'll actually call out to you and ask you to come over.
Okay, I walk over.
She says,
Yes?
as she's looking at you, she says, a mutual acquaintance of ours, Sebastian, he's actually asked me to acquire a DNA sample from you. Would this be a problem if I was to take one from you?
Not really. Why?
Sebastian hasn't really filled me in on the details. All he says that with the list of people he gave you, there will be material gains coming in your direction that require DNA triggers to activate. That was all the information I was given.
If that's the case, that's reasonable.
With that, she will just hold out her hand.
I'll just give her my hand.
Yep, as she grabs hold of your hand, she shakes it, and suddenly like 4 or 5 little tendrils appear from her wrist. They dig into your wrist. It's like minor pain, but they extract a little bit of tissue and blood from you, and then she lets go, well, obviously lets go, and they retract, and she says, thank you very much for that, and she continues to eat. She also offers you some of the grox that's on the table.
Oh.
He recoils his hand back, and I say, okay. He doesn't really eat, though.
I turn around and I also tell Angel, the specimen we have is a blade witch. They believe it's a melee heavy, so make sure your people you send can handle her if she gets out of her status.
Upon saying that, he says, interesting. I am quite sure there are many people aboard the commander's vessel that should be able to handle that.
As I saw, the stasis field was holding effectively, but I'm no tech expert, so I don't know the status of it.
Yeah, well, we have several tech experts plus meatheads aboard the ship. If anything should go wrong, there shouldn't be very many problems.
I also wanted to point out...
I'll hold my hand out across the table too. You go.
I just wanted to point out, make sure he knows about the number of specimens the Inquisitor has brought off planet. And I want to point out, I doubt she'll be the last one that they'll send there to harvest these creatures.
As you say that, he gets he hasn't got his helmet on so you can see his face. He has a bit of a look of concern on his face. He says, yes, that will be concerning. It concerns me as to why the Inquisition are removing specimens too. What were you saying, Abe?
I was just gonna hold my hand across the table to this guy Mezcat, and tell him that introduce myself since he didn't introduce himself. And say, yeah, I'm Abel.
Yeah, he'll shake your hand and says he's Mezcat, formerly of the Thousand Sons Legion. He now serves the Grand Marshal. His role is he's the second Macus on the crew, and he helps with rituals of summoning and in Xeno lore and stuff like that.
Greetings. I am Kat. It is a pleasure to meet you both.
I'm not normally one to bring up money, but We were told we would be paid handsomely for a live specimen.
Well, we didn't bring him a large specimen, we brought him a specimen. And
A live specimen.
oh, live. My bad, I
As you say that, he says, "Oh, of course. I'm not one to hand out that kind of stuff." As he looks to his companion, he says, "You were brought here to take them there, weren't you?" And she nods her head. She says, and upon that, the angel says, "When you guys are ready, I can transport you to where the mistress is, so that you may talk terms with her about that."
Oh, I wanted to bring...
What would you?
I was just
What
gonna...
would you like done with your inquisitor friend here as well?
Don't hurt him. Her.
We will hold. I will have some of the immortals, the two immortals at the door, take you down to one of the dungeons until you return.
I wanted to bring up that they were sedating some of the larger creatures and using... whose blood was it?
Gilliman's.
Gilliman's blood on, like, the dragon. Or was it the dragon? Or just the...
I don't think it was the dragon, because the dragon was a robot. It was completely electronic. I think it was just some of the other stuff.
This is a fortuitous thing, but it is concerning that they need part of the anti-life virus.
They also have found a cruiser class ship that the creatures have access to if they should ever wake up.
I have some pressing matters to take in to deal with. Knowing this information, I will have to take my leave of you. I am sorry.
That's fine, but who you're taking us to? The mistress?
Yeah, the angel will say, "Well, as soon as you ladies and gentlemen are ready, I can transport you there immediately."
Is there a mention of an anti-life virus?
Yes, there was a mention of it.
Do we know what that is?
Not in open circles. The only thing, if you guys could make a law legend roll, you could work it out. It'd be common law.
I don't have lore legend, so that's like half my intellect.
No, it's only minus 20.
Well, I'm dumb.
Magus, you will, the only thing correlation you can take into effect is that with the link to Gilliman was stabbed by a weapon back in the Heresy that pretty much knocked out his regeneration, and that's the reason why he's currently MIA. That's the only thing that you could possibly think that could be tied to.
Could I theoretically ask this guy about his mention of the virus?
Yes, you can ask if you wish.
Yeah, I'd like to ask him the anti-life virus. What is that? Can you tell me more?
He says it's the virus that is affecting Gilliman so that he can't fully regenerate. We currently have found the weapon that was imbued with it and disabled it in a way. And I think that several of the crew that are working on a cure for it, just in case it should ever come into play.